What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the farm. So syrup season is basically here. In the next week or so, I'll be starting to tap trees. I'll starting to be collecting sap, and there are just a couple of loose ends that have to get wrapped up back here in the sugar shop. The biggest one being getting the vent hood for over top of the syrup boiler. Now, as you can kind of see behind me here, we got one that we mocked up. We made it out of an old, one of those big size political signs. We kind of cut it into pieces just to get a rough shape of what the vent hood is going to look like. So we were able to come up with a rough shape and rough dimensions to make sure that we were covering the boiler over top here, that we were going to be able to get good evacuation of all of the steam that's going to be coming off of this thing. Because when this is up and boiling, it's last year I was able to get over a couple of gallons an hour boiled off. So that's a lot of steam. Now, really fortunately, my dad and I just so happened to know all my syrup buckets here ready to start, or my sap buckets ready to go out. Real fortunately, my dad and I know a guy that runs a metal shop. He actually was a mechanic. He has done a lot of mechanic work for us, but he owns a real big CNC machine, like a water jet CNC machine, and like the real big press brakes and stuff. And so we contacted him to see if this is something that he thought that he might be able to make. And lo and behold, it's something that he's done before. So tomorrow, hopefully, it's going to be done. We're going to go out to his shop, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to get some video there. Maybe he can show you the machines and stuff that he used to cut the metal out and then to break the metal, and just be able to show you guys how it's going to go together. Now, I know there's some science behind how a vent hood is supposed to work, and I'm sure that's somewhere in like the HVAC sort of category, but it's not something that I know very much about, or that my dad knows very much about. So one of the ideas that we came up with to make sure that this is really going to vent super well is we're going to do a hinged side piece here that's going to come down and hang. So as the steam's coming up, there is going to be a hole in the top, and then there will be a vent. There will be some duct work that we're going to run outside, and there'll be a fan in that, so it will be sucking up out of here. I mean, that's how vent hoods. Whoa, sorry, that's how vent hoods work. But we're going to do some side pieces on like some piano hinges that will fold down to make sure that we really get good venting out, because if you have watched any of last year's syrup videos, you might remember that this was just one big old clear span building, and now it has an upstairs, it has several distinct rooms, so the syrup area is actually a confined designated room now. And if we weren't doing something for venting, even, I have the exhaust fan in the wall back here, and then if I were to have all of the doors and windows open, the garage door and the window and everything, I don't think that would be anywhere near enough venting. It just would get way too wet in here. So tomorrow we will go and we will pick the vent hood up, and fingers crossed that Dustin is amenable to shooting some video in his shop. All right, guys, well, we made it down to Dustin's shop this morning, and he is going to show us real quick the water jet machine that he used to cut out the metal for the hood, and kind of just going to walk us through what they did to put it together. All right, so I showed you guys the little drawing that we made up, and then Dustin here was able to program it into his AutoCAD, so maybe he can show us what he's got going on here with that.
What we have here is a 60,000 PSI water jet. We use this to cut our thinner sheet metals as well as our thicker non-ferrous material. This program looks like it took about 17 minutes to produce all of the components for the hood.
And Dustin was telling me that on this water jet machine, it's water and it's sand is the abrasive. He can cut materials of 6-inch aluminum on this thing. And this workpiece he has on here right now, you can see it's just beautiful cuts. No burrs, no nothing. I mean, if that was rough, it would have grabbed me. Some really cool stuff he's got going on here.
So after we cut the part and take it off the water jet, take the remaining skin of the sheet off of the part, we then deburr the edges and prepare it for braking. Okay,
So Dustin was just telling me this is the big, is it a press brake?
it is a press brake.
The big press brake that they used to do all of the angles on the hood here. How many pounds is that brake, Dustin?
200,000 pounds.
200,000. So what's the biggest piece of metal it could break? Thickest piece.
Yeah, 1/2 of an inch by 10 feet.
So of course it's sitting here upside down right now, but you can see these are those sides, the fold down sides that we were talking about. So once we get it back, we'll put those piano hinges here on the side. And you see all these little pieces, they're just riveted together. And it just came out perfect. You know, in that AutoCAD machine, programmed it all perfect. So now we've gotten back to my place with it, and we've got it all unloaded. Those side pieces that I was talking about earlier that are going to get that piano hinge on it, those were not attached. He kind of just had some rivets set in there, but they weren't actually riveted. So that was just showing us that the holes and everything were lined up. So we've taken those pieces off, and now you can see here we have started to put on our big long piano hinge, and we have started riveting it to the hood part. We have not attached it yet to the side piece. So we'll get some holes drilled and get some rivets put down through that. We probably won't attach the side piece until we actually have the hood hung up over here, over top of the boiler. We got the one that we mocked up all taken down. So probably, well, definitely won't put those side pieces on until after we get the actual hood piece mounted up there. Now, one thing that we did not do is we did not have them cut the hole in the top of the vent where the fan that's going to draw the steam out. We did not have them cut that hole because we need it to end up here inside of one of these floor joists. So now what we're doing is we're trying to get a good measurement, figure out where it needs to end up so we can get it marked here on top of the vent. And then we are going to install one of these flanges. So this would be for HVAC normally, but we're going to install that on top, come out to a 6-inch pipe. And that's how we're going to vent it out this way with one of these real strong air mover fans. And that cut gave us a nice tight fit. So this, like I said, this will go in here. We'll do a little bit of siliconing to get all the little gaps filled in. And then we're just gonna come off of here with a 6-inch. That's what will go over and out the sidewall. Well, I set the camera down for a little bit, but before we took that wooden frame down, we were able to get all of the rivets put in our piano hinges on both sides here. So the side pieces are attached. I'll flip those down in just a second. And we also were able to get some screws put in inside here. We used some long 3-inch deck screws, ceramic deck screws with some stainless steel hardware to make sure that it wouldn't rust. That's what we used to affix to the floor joists, you know, the floor for the second floor, ceiling joists. And I don't think that I made mention of this yet in this video. Sorry, but this is made of galvanized, not made of stainless steel. So it won't rust, but Dustin, who made this for us, he actually does a lot of this kind of work. And he was who recommended the galvanized to us. We didn't need to go with the stainless steel. Plus the stainless is a lot more expensive. And this is going to be one of those videos where someone says that is going to complain that I spent too much time talking and not enough time doing, but wasn't going to turn down the help. Dad was able to come over one day while I was at work, and he got the vent pipe put in, run out the side here. So I don't know if you saw a second ago when we were up inside here, we were able to cut that vent in. You saw that happen earlier. We used the hand grinder to cut that hole out, then got that, whatever you call that piece of HVAC flange running out the wall here. And then the last thing we have to do is get it connected to the fan. So we did find this flange that is 6-inch here, and then it had this flat flange here that had like a double stick kind of deal to it that we were able to attach it to the face of this, and then whoops, sorry about that. And then we were able to use rivets to permanently attach it to the fan. So we'll take that outside. Then the last thing I want to show off tonight is, like I said a minute ago, we did get the sides riveted into the hinges. So, got those there. So if for some reason just the suction wasn't enough to suck it up there, we do have these sides, and we riveted magnets to the side of it. So when we flip it back up, we know it's nice and secure. It's not going to tip over and bonk somebody on the head, because that would hit you pretty hard. It's pretty heavy. We're out here mounting the fan. So we're basically just building a platform that we're going to hang from the roof trusses, or the roof joist right here, that the fan will just sit right on top. So we're just going to hang a couple of supports and then build a little platform, and our fan should sit right on that platform and match up with the vent pipe right where it comes out of the wall. So you can see we just have this scrap piece of 2x12 that we're setting it on top of, and we're pretty well matched up. So this will just sleeve into here, and then we'll get some electric brought out to it. Well, we're giving her a test run this morning. It's only water in there right now, and the fan is doing a pretty good job of sucking out most of the steam. It's looking like maybe we might need to do a front panel here. It is losing some definitely out of the front here, but also, you know, we have the exhaust fan back here in the wall that we don't have running. We don't have that hooked up yet. Got to get that hooked into the electric, and then that will help. You know, we'll be able to get cross ventilation coming from either opening up the garage door or the window here, and there's also this door here. you can see it's pulling out a ton of steam. So I cut a piece of this galvanized corrugated that we used back there on the wall for the, there we go, for the heat deflector. If you watch that video, I'll put a link right here. Had a little scrap piece of it left, so I went ahead and cut that down and hung it with a couple of magnets, and that seems to be helping quite a bit actually. So just gonna use that for now. If it seems like we gotta go a different route, kind of come up with that. But I never figured it was gonna take every bit of the steam, but I knew we were gonna have to handle the bulk of the steam now that we're enclosed in here with the second story on and everything. So I guess that's gonna about wrap it up for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, think about hitting that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you got any questions about the stuff that we did, leave it down in the comments. If you got any suggestions, ways we could have done it different, I'd love to hear about it. But until next time, y'all, we'll see you.